Joining us now to discuss this further is retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton. General Newton, it's always nice to see you. I mean, what do you make of this? First of all, it seems confirmed now that Prigozhin is dead, at least according to Russia. Can we be sure of that? Because initially there was some reporting, oh, he was on the passenger list. We didn't know for sure that he was actually on the plane. What's the latest you're hearing?
Well, Brian, it's a fair question. We can't be 100% sure, but we can be, fairly accurate, I think, in terms of the media reporting, and a great report by Joe, by the way, that Prigozhin was on the airplane. Also on the airplane was the commander of the Wagner Group and the founder, Dmitry Yukhin, or Yukhin rather. And so this is a lot of the senior leadership of Wagner now, as reported, have been killed in this this aircraft crash and so forth. And so that's a major blow, obviously, to the Wagner Group, but a major win, in my view, to Putin. It reestablishes the fact that, and he underscores again that he's in charge. He's all about power. And as Joe reported, those number of people that you saw on the screen that had been recently either killed or found some demise, that not only just included them, but also in many cases their spouses and their children. This is very chilling. It's almost like it's out of the Godfather movie. But let's be clear. Putin only understands one thing, Brian, and that's power. And the fact that Prigozhin, of all things, on June 24th, made a very public spectacle in a near mutiny and a revolt 120 miles or so south of Moscow. And actually, I'm a little bit surprised that he was able to survive even up until this third week of August.
Why do you think they would all get on the plane together, General? I mean, you mentioned there were leaders from the Wagner Group all together on one plane, including Prigozhin. I mean, wouldn't they know better than that? It seems like a good opportunity flying right over Russia for Putin to take them all out.
Well, it's a common practice for him to travel. He's on board an Embracer 600, which is a very safe Brazilian-made common business jet, and he was traveling from Moscow to his hometown of St. Petersburg. I'm sure he's made that route many times. In fact, when I flew with the Russian Air Force, I actually was in that airspace flying between Moscow and St. Petersburg. It's over a very sparse area. So if the Russians, or Putin in this case, I'm sure he was behind us, if indeed it becomes to be true, made this kill, if you will, against this aircraft. So it doesn't surprise me that Prigozhin, thinking that perhaps he'd survived all the way up to this point, obviously he didn't have the intelligence or the insights that this event was going to happen. But nonetheless, my sources tell me that we'll end up verifying that Prigozhin was indeed on board that aircraft.
Yeah, and if they do verify, General, that it was Putin who took this plane down, what does that mean big picture? What does that mean for the U.S.? What does that mean for the war in Ukraine? Does it change much?
Doesn't change the calculus much. What it really does from a strategic standpoint, Brian, it really reasserts Putin's power and his absolutely strong arm control over Russia. So there's a couple audiences here, though, and you allude to the external audience, U.S.-led NATO effort, certainly President Zelensky in Ukraine. He's telling the rest of the world that I'm still in power. Even though there was this, what he would classify as a minor revolt or a mutiny, I've taken the leader of that. He's off the battlefield. I am definitely in power. The internal message could be even more important to Putin and to the Russian people. He's an old Soviet-style, leader. This is right out of the old KGB Soviet playbook, but it's also out of Putin's playbook. And he's got a very broad playbook of atrocities here, from the access to tactical nuclear weapons all the way to the killings that Joe underscored and purportedly the one that killed Prigozhin here. Yes, so sir. This is as much about power as well as internal messaging to not only the Russian people, but the close circle of oligarchs and leaders around Putin as well.
Yeah, it certainly seems like right out of the Putin playbook. And we've actually got a KGB agent who's going to be on the show with us tomorrow night to really show us what happens behind the current or former KGB agent, obviously. General Richard Newton, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.